had a lot of people ask about what spells that you should be using your training points on, so with that being said, I've compiled a list of spells that every school in Wizard 101 should look into getting in order of the level that you can train them. Now remember, you do not need to train some of these spells right at the level that you unlock them at. These are just merely suggestions of what worked for me and for most of the wizards in Wizard 101. To start off the list, found in the School of Death at level 22, I suggest everyone train the spell of Faint. This spell puts a 70 trap on the opponent while putting a 30 trap on yourself, but it is a staple spell that you will use for the entire game on most bosses, speeding up those fights really quickly, pretty much accounting for 2 buffs at one time. Next, found at Niles in Crocotopia, I suggest training Elemental and Spirit Blade from Niles at level 25. Next up are another couple of spells that are extremely important and will be used for the remainder of the game. These will be enchantment cards from the Sun School trainers around 3 different worlds. At level 50 and 52, you can find Strong and Giant here in the Celestian base camp. At level 56 and 58, you can find Monstrous and Gargantuan in Celestia's Floating Land at this Sun School trainer. After doing a prerequisite quest, at level 64, you can find Colossal in the Drum Jungle in Zafaria. And finally, at level 110, you can buy Epic in the Arcanum. These are all spells that you can improve the base damage of any of your attacking spells, leading to quicker fights throughout questing. Continuing with our list, at level 70, you can train Mass Prisms that relate to your school from the Ponycorn and Avalon's The Wild. Another spell that I think is a must is at level 75. You can train Purge from the Myth Professor here in Ravenwood without having to train any of the prerequisite spells before it, with the only requirement being completing a side quest. Back in Avalon's The Wild, at level 80 you can train your own school spear as well as Spirit and Elemental spears from Enya and Firemoon. These nearing the end of our list, at level 86 with the completion of 2 different side quests, you can train Sharpened Blade and Potent Trap here in Azteca, 2 very important spells that you can increase your buffs while fighting. And lastly on this list are 3 spells found in the Astral School and the Arcanum, all unlocked at 110. I suggest getting Aegis and Indemnity, which are spells that protect your buffs from being taken away or swapped by cheating bosses, being awesome counters. The other spell would be Frenzy, an aura that has a 40 buff that can be used where blades cannot. The only thing with Frenzy is that you will have to train Berserk earlier than it, as it is a prerequisite. Now, with that being said, those are the most important spells in my opinion for you to train on any and all of your wizards. But there are a few honorable mentions I'll include here at the end that you can get depending on wants and needs. At level 16 from the Ice Professor in Ravenwood, Tower Shield, which is a universal shield. At level 15 and 20, Elemental and Spear Trap from Niles in Crocotopia. At level 20 from Mildred in Colossal Boulevard, Reshuffle. At level 26 from the Life Professor in Ravenwood, Satyr, which requires 7 training points to get. At level 56, Attenuate from the Astral School. And then after you get into spell weaving, any of your spell weaving spells that you want to get, specifically the blades, will be the most important out of those. And with that, that is all of the spells that I recommend you getting, including some honorable mentions. That is up to you.